Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a video game review. And for this review, we're going to be taking a look at Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy for the PS4. Now, Crash is sort of one of those mascots that hasn't really been seen for a while. He's mostly for gamers like me, we remember him back from the 90s, from the Crash Bandicoot games back on the days of the PlayStation. Of course, the infamous ad where he sort of stood out of the headquarters of Nintendo with like a bullhorn or something to call out Mario and all that stuff. It was an interesting ad back then, but since then he sort of fell to the wayside in the early 2000s. He had some games, but for most part after that, he kind of disappeared for a bit though. So much to the surprise that Activision is trying to bring Crash back, which was kind of interesting as we saw with those Skylander toys that they did until they sort of discontinue those Skylander toys. And so now apparently they're pushing forward with bringing them back with a remake of the first three Crash games from the PlayStation and from the original PlayStation though. So do they hold up well on the PlayStation 4, especially for this generation? In a way, yes. And there are things I do and don't like about Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. So why don't we get started with the pros and cons? We'll start first off with the pros. So let me get my notes out. Alright, the first one I want to talk about is the old school platforming. I'm a fan of platforming games. I really have enjoyed platforming games from the days of when Mario came out back in the original Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Bros. 3 remains one of my favorite video games of all time. So it's nice to see that they still retain a lot of the platforming from the Crash Bandicoot games, even though I never really played any of the Crash games outside of the one mini game in Uncharted 4 Thief's End where you play the original Crash Bandicoot, though sort of like a little Naughty Dog's like homage to the game before they released Jak and Daxter and the Uncharted series. So, but for the most part, based on my time with it, I love the platforming. It's simple, fun simple gameplay from like hankering back to the old school days of platforming. So to me, I've loved the old school platforming in the game. The next one is the visuals, and I will say, even though this is a remake of the first three games, and obviously it got a visual boost, but I will say the visuals look very nice for these games. I mean, I understand that they couldn't find the original code or something like that. I don't know how much of that is true or not, but if that's the case, and I have to say they did a pretty good job remaking pretty much all the levels from the first three Crash games, so that certainly looks nice. So overall, visually, the game looks good. And finally, last but not least, it's not a bad deal what you're getting out of this game. You're getting Crash Bandicoot, Crash 2, Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash 3 Warped, though, so it's basically all three games in one. It doesn't have Crash Team Racing. I don't know whether folks like that or not. I'm sure there are some people who did enjoy it. Or any of the Crash games like released like in like the early 2000s and all. But overall, all three Crash games in one, it's not a bad deal. Especially I think the game's like around $60. So 3 games in one disc, not bad at all. Okay, we're going to take a bit of a break. And when we come back, we'll get to the cons. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right. Excuse me. We will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our review of Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy for the PS4. And now that I gave you my pros, why don't I start with now we go on to the cons. And for the cons, there are about basically 3 that I could think of. One connects to the other cons, so I'll get to that in a minute. But we'll start with the first one. The first one I will say is the loading time in the game, though. For those who are... let me try to explain it this way, though. For those who have played Naughty Dog games before in the past, whether it was the Uncharted or the Jak and Daxter series, Naughty Dog was known for basically making the game go streamly, even on a disc, without like no loading time or anything like that, though. And I'm aware Naughty Dog isn't developing this game, though. So, unfortunately, there is sort of loading time in this one, which is pretty obviously for any disc-based game. And it's not terrible. But it does feel like it does drag on a little bit. Like it takes like a couple seconds or so on. Is it annoying? Yes. Is it like the biggest deal? Not as much, but the loading time is, let's just say, it's a minor con. It's a bit annoying, though. The next one I will say is the camera angle in the game. Now, for the most part, for pretty much the entire game of Crash Bandicoot, the camera is set sort of at a fixed angle, which is both a good and a bad thing. On one hand, it's good because you don't have to worry about changing the camera or anything like that. You can just focus on just the gameplay, which is not a bad thing. But on the other hand, the camera angle can go into an angle you don't want it to be in, and that could make timing your jumps and all, could make it feel like you're a bit off, which can be very annoying, which also connects to the last the last con I have to say about it, and that would be the difficulty spike, though, which is both a good and a bad thing, though. Basically, the Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3, however, the difficulty spike is kind of toned down a little bit. It's still a challenging game, don't get me wrong, but the first one, boy, it can be a bit challenging, though, especially with the camera angle where it's positioned, though. This can make the game both fun and frustrated at the same time. I'm all for a challenge, though, but boy, this game can be very difficult to pass some of the levels, especially in the first one, with some of the levels involving you to crossing like a bridge, and you gotta be careful for some of the platforms can fall through very easily. So let's just say the difficulty spike can turn some people off. While I won't go as far as calling this like a Dark Souls difficulty, as some people have referred to it as, I will say it does provide a bit of a challenge. On the other hand, I don't view that as a bad thing. I mean, I remember playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii U and New Super Mario Bros. U and Super Mario Galaxy 2, and those games were definitely challenging platforming games, and those games are fun. Yes, they can be frustrated as well, and Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy is no different. The difficulty spike is both fun and frustrating, and it might turn some people off, though. Overall, Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, let me cut this out. Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy is still a fun game, in my opinion. I love the platforming in the game. I think the visuals look nice as well, and I do think the game is challenging, which is very good, especially for someone who is big on platforming. However, at the same time, that challenging difficulty can turn some gamers off, and it might make some gamers like throw their controller in rage over some of the platforming. And some of it is also because of the camera angle can make timing your jumps a bit difficult in some ways. But beyond that, though, I am enjoying the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. Even though I'm a huge Mario fan, I still enjoy this game, and from what I understand, it's selling very well, which is very nice. Hopefully, we'll see more of Crash Bandicoot down the road, providing that Activision doesn't milk it to death like they do with the Call of Duty series. But overall, fun platforming game. If you're a fan of old school platforming or 3D platforming like I am, or if you want something to keep you busy until Super Mario Odyssey comes out for the Switch, assuming you have a Switch and a PS4, then you can't go wrong with playing Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, since it's 3 games in one, which isn't that bad at all. Okay, this concludes my review of Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy, and again, these are my opinion. What are yours? Have you picked up the game yet? And if you have, are you enjoying the game? Are you not enjoying the game? Has the difficulty spike become a turn-off for you, or the difficulty spike isn't an issue? Do you agree with what I said in the video? Do you disagree? Do you have a different opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. Also, I would like to give a shout out to several Facebook groups that I'm part of. Brother of Oblivion Game, SSG, Secret Society of Gamers, Team Red Gaming as well. If you're interested in seeing those, if you're interested in going to these sites on Facebook, I'll have a link in the description. You could check them out as well. It's evening in Southern California, so I'll be getting ready for bed soon. And I'll see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good evening.